Hello, welcome to Unsettling Horror Storytelling Podcast, where real paranormal encounters are shared and the unexplained comes to life. Before we begin tonight's story, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube, follow my TikTok and Instagram, and also check out my Spotify at Unsettling Horrors. If you have any stories to share, feel free to DM me on my TikTok. Now, let's get into tonight's encounter. For today's story is sent by a listener and is titled A Pocong Behind My Van. This happened back in 2017, and even though many years have passed, I still remember every single detail as if it happened yesterday. It was one of those experiences that completely changed the way I look at the supernatural. Back then, I was still quite young. During school holidays, I loved following my father to work. He worked for SingPost, delivering letters and parcels all across Singapore. To me, it wasn't just work. It felt like an adventure. I got to ride around the island, see different neighborhoods, and spend time with my dad. Usually, my younger brother would tag along too. Whenever my father stopped to deliver a parcel, he would tell us to stay inside the van. Don't open the door, I'll be back in a few minutes. We would simply nod our heads, and while he was away, my brother and I would entertain ourselves by talking, playing games, or pretending to wrestle inside the van. Nothing strange had ever happened before, until one afternoon. I can't remember the exact date, but I clearly remember the location. We had arrived at a condominium in Bedok. Like always, my father parked the van near the entrance, grabbed a parcel, and head inside the condo to make the delivery. My brother and I stayed behind. At first, we were just fooling around in the back of the van, pretending to fight and laughing loudly. After a while, my brother became tired. He walked over to the front passenger seat and sat down. I decided to stay behind in the cargo area of the van by myself. The moment I sat down, something felt wrong. It wasn't something I could explain. The air suddenly felt heavier. The inside of the van became strangely quiet. Even though it was the middle of the day, I felt a chill run down my spine. It felt as if someone else had entered the van. I kept telling myself it was just imagination. Then, I looked through the rear window. Standing behind the van was a white figure. At first glance, I wasn't frightened. I honestly thought it was just an elderly uncle carrying a large white sack over his shoulders. The figure wasn't walking. It wasn't standing completely still either. Instead, it was slowly swaying from left to right. Left, right, left, right. The movement did not look natural. It was almost as if someone was gently rocking it back and forth. I continued staring at it, trying to figure out what was I looking at. Then I thought, why is the sack standing upright? Something didn't make sense. Curious, I leaned forward slightly to get a better look. My eyes slowly traveled upwards, from the body to the shoulders, then the head. That's when I saw it. There was a knot tied tightly at the very top. My heart instantly dropped. It wasn't an old man. It wasn't someone carrying a sack. It was a Pocong. The white burial shrub. The knot above his head. The body wrapped from his head to toe. There was no mistake. For a split second, my body completely froze. I couldn't even scream. The Pocong continued swaying silently behind the van. It never stopped. It never took a step. It never made a sound. It simply stood there, watching. The fear finally hit me all at once. I immediately jumped out from the back of the van and ran as fast as I could to the front seat. My brother looked confused. He asked me what happened. I couldn't even answer him. My hands were shaking so badly that I struggled to unlock my phone. The only thing I could think of was to play Ayatul Kursi. As soon the recitation started playing, I held into my phone tightly and kept my eyes away from the back window. I didn't dare to look again. Every second felt like an eternity. I kept playing silently for my father to return. After what felt like forever, but was probably only a few seconds, I finally saw my father walking back towards the van with his delivery scanner. The moment he opened the driver's door, I felt an overwhelming sense of relief. I immediately begged him to drive away. He asked me what happened. I tried explaining between breaths that I had seen something behind the van. My father turned around and looked through the rear window. There was nothing there anymore. The figure had completely disappeared. He told me it was probably just my imagination, but deep down, I knew exactly what I had seen. The image of that white figure swaying silently behind the van has stayed with me ever since. Even today, whenever I see a delivery van parked beside a quiet road, I can't help but remember that afternoon in Bedok. That experience changed me completely. From that day onwards, I never followed my father to work again. Till this day, I still wonder one thing. Had it been standing behind our van, watching us the entire time? Now, do you believe in this story? Believe it or not, your choice.